The arrogant empire. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, the galactic empire of the Zorthax reigned supreme. For millennia, they had conquered and subjugated countless civilizations, their technological prowess unmatched across the known universe. The Zorthax, a species of towering crystalline beings, believed themselves to be the pinnacle of evolution, destined to rule over all lesser races. At the heart of the Empire's capital world, Zorthax Prime, the High Council convened in their crystalline chambers. Grand Imperator Xylos, his faceted body gleaming with an otherworldly light, addressed his fellow council members. Esteemed colleagues, Xylos began, his voice resonating through the chamber. Our scouts have brought news of a peculiar species on the fringes of our territory. They call themselves humans. A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the room, showing images of Earth and its inhabitants. The council members observed with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. These creatures, Xylos continued, have barely mastered interplanetary travel. Their technology is primitive, their bodies frail. And yet, they have the audacity to expand beyond their homeworld. Counselor Vex, known for her tactical acumen, spoke up. Grand Imperator, surely such an insignificant species poses no threat to our glorious empire. Xylos's crystalline form shimmered with amusement. Of course not, Vex. However, their very existence in our sector is an affront to our supremacy. We shall make an example of them, as we have done countless times before. The council murmured in agreement, their forms pulsating with anticipation of another easy conquest. Unbeknownst to the Zorthax, humanity had long been aware of their existence. For decades, Earth's governments had intercepted alien transmissions, piecing together the extent of the Empire's reach and power. In secret bunkers and hidden laboratories across the globe, humans had been preparing for the day when they would inevitably face this cosmic threat. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead scientist of the Global Defense Initiative, stood before a panel of world leaders in a secure underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. Her eyes gleamed with determination as she presented humanity's best hope for survival. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, her voice steady despite the weight of her words, the Zorthax Empire is coming. But we are ready. She activated a holographic display, showcasing a sleek, almost organic-looking spacecraft. I present to you the culmination of our efforts, the Nexus 1. This ship represents a quantum leap in human technology, incorporating reverse-engineered alien tech and our own innovations. The world leaders leaned forward, their eyes wide with a mixture of hope and disbelief. The Nexus 1 is equipped with a revolutionary AI system that can adapt to any combat situation in real time, Dr. Chen explained. Its hull is composed of a metamaterial that can absorb and redirect energy weapons. But our true advantage lies in its power source. She paused, allowing the tension to build. We've harnessed dark energy, ladies and gentlemen. The same force that's expanding our universe now powers our fleet. Murmurs of astonishment filled the room. Admiral Viktor Volkov, a grizzled veteran of countless terrestrial conflicts, spoke up. How many of these ships do we have, Dr. Chen? We've constructed a fleet of 500, Admiral, she replied, hidden in underground hangars and lunar bases, ready to launch at a moment's notice. President Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Alliance rose to her feet. Dr. Chen, you and your team have given humanity a fighting chance, but 500 ships, no matter how advanced, seem paltry against an empire that spans the galaxy. Dr. Chen nodded solemnly. You're right, Madam President. We're outnumbered and, in many ways, outgunned. But the Zorthax have grown complacent in their power. They've conquered so many worlds that they've forgotten what it's like to face a species fighting for its very survival. She clenched her fist, her voice rising with passion. We may be fewer in number, but we have something they lack. The indomitable human spirit. We've faced extinction-level events before, ice ages, pandemics, world wars, and we've always emerged stronger. This is just another challenge, albeit on a cosmic scale. The room fell silent as her words sank in. Then, slowly, President Rodriguez began to applaud. Others joined in, the sound swelling until it filled the chamber. "Very well, Dr. Chen," the president said as the applause died down. "Commence Operation Cosmic Shield. May God have mercy on our souls, for I doubt the Zorthax will." As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and trepidation. Humanity was about to face its greatest test, and she had played a crucial role in preparing for it. But would it be enough? Meanwhile, in the void of space, the Zorthax fleet began its journey towards Earth. Thousands of crystalline ships, each the size of a small moon, glided silently through the cosmos. At their head was the flagship of Grand Imperator Xylos himself, a behemoth vessel named the Eternal Radiance. On the bridge of the Eternal Radiance, Xylos gazed at the holographic display of their target, the Sol system. His crystalline form pulsed with anticipation. Soon, he mused, these humans will learn their place in the cosmos. Another species to be ground beneath the unstoppable march of our empire. Little did he know that humanity was not only ready but eager to prove him wrong. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. As Earth prepared for the coming storm, a sense of unity swept across the planet. Old rivalries were set aside, borders became meaningless, and humanity stood as one against the cosmic threat. In every city, people gathered to watch the skies, knowing that their fate hung in the balance. The Zorthax fleet drew ever closer, confident in their impending victory. But humanity, with its back against the wall, was about to show the galaxy what it meant to be human. The battle for Earth and the future of the galaxy was about to begin. First contact. First blood. The silence of space was shattered as the Zorthax fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Their crystalline ships, each a masterpiece of alien engineering, filled the void with an eerie, shimmering light. At the helm of the Eternal Radiance, Grand Imperator Xylos surveyed the scene with smug satisfaction. "Pitiful," he scoffed, his multifaceted eyes fixed on the small blue planet in the distance. "They don't even have a defensive perimeter beyond their moon. This conquest will be over before it begins." Counselor Vex, standing at his side, nodded in agreement. "Shall we commence the standard protocol, Grand Imperator? Destroy their primitive satellites, then move in for planetary bombardment." Xylos's crystalline form pulsed with anticipation. "Indeed. Let us show these humans the price of existing in our galaxy." As the Zorthax fleet began to advance, alarms blared in the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Admiral Volkov's gruff voice cut through the chaos. "They're here. All stations, battle positions. Initiate Operation Cosmic Shield." President Rodriguez, her face etched with determination, gave a curt nod. "You have a go, Admiral. May fortune favor the bold." Across Earth and its colonies on Mars and the Moon, hidden hangar doors slid open. The Nexus fleet, humanity's secret weapon, rose from their underground lairs and lunar craters. 500 ships, sleek and deadly, took formation in Earth's orbit. Aboard the Nexus one, Captain Zura Hendricks felt a mix of fear and exhilaration as she surveyed her bridge crew. "This is it, people. Everything we've trained for. Activate the Nexus AI and prepare for combat." A holographic figure materialized beside her. Araya, the advanced reactive intelligence assistant. Its form shifted constantly, a visual representation of its adaptive nature. "All systems online, Captain. The Zorthax fleet is advancing. They appear to be targeting our satellite network." "Not today," Zora muttered. "Araya, initiate defense pattern Alpha. Let's show them what we're made of." As the first Zorthax ships fired their energy weapons at Earth's satellites, they were met with an unexpected sight. The satellites shimmered and disappeared, mere holograms designed to deceive. Aboard the Eternal Radiance, alarms blared. Xylos's smug expression morphed into one of confusion. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. Before anyone could respond, the real attack began. The Nexus fleet, cloaked until now, suddenly appeared, surrounding the Zorthak's Armada. Beams of concentrated dark energy lanced out from the human ships, slicing through the crystalline hulls of the alien vessels. Chaos erupted as the Zorthaks, caught completely off guard, scrambled to respond. Their mighty ships, accustomed to easy victories, found themselves outmaneuvered by the smaller, more agile Nexus craft. Captain Hendrix's voice crackled over the comms to the rest of the fleet. Remember your training. Use the gravity wells to your advantage. Don't let them regroup. The battle raged across the solar system. Nexus ships darted between planets and moons, using their gravitational fields to slingshot themselves at impossible speeds. The AI in each ship calculated trajectories and attack vectors faster than any organic mind could, giving the human fleet an edge in maneuverability. Aboard the Eternal Radiance, Grand Imperator Xylos raged at his subordinates. How is this possible? They're savages, primitives. Counselor Vex, her crystalline form crackling with stress, replied, Grand Imperator, we've underestimated them. Their technology. It's unlike anything we've encountered. They're using the very fabric of space-time as a weapon. As if to punctuate her words, a Nexus ship suddenly appeared right in front of the Eternal Radiance, having seemingly phased through solid matter. It fired a concentrated burst of dark energy directly at the bridge before disappearing again. The Zorthak's flagship shuddered under the impact. For the first time in his long life, Xylos felt fear. Impossible, he whispered. Back on Earth, in the command center, a cheer went up as reports of the battle's progress came in. Admiral Volkov allowed himself a small smile. We've bloodied their nose, but this fight's far from over. Keep the pressure on. Dr. Chen, monitoring the performance of the Nexus fleet, turned to President Rodriguez. Madam President, the AI is adapting even faster than we anticipated. It's learning from the Zorthak's tactics and developing countermeasures in real time. Rodriguez nodded, her eyes fixed on the holographic battle display. And the Zorthaks? How are they responding? They're confused, Dr. Chen replied. Their formations are breaking down. I don't think they've faced an opponent like us in a very long time. As the battle raged on, the true nature of humanity's advantage became clear. It wasn't just their advanced technology or the element of surprise. It was their adaptability, their willingness to take risks, and their sheer determination to survive. Nexus ships, even when damaged, continued to fight. Their crews, a mix of hardened veterans and fresh recruits, showed a level of courage that astounded the Zorthaks. Human pilots pulled off maneuvers that defied logic and expectation, catching the enemy off guard time and time again. In one particularly daring move, a damaged Nexus ship, its engines failing, allowed itself to be caught in Jupiter's gravity. As a group of Zorthak's vessels pursued, the human ship slingshot around the gas giant at tremendous speed, then detonated its dark energy core. The resulting explosion created a localized space-time distortion that swallowed the pursuing ship's whole. Hours into the battle, the tide had clearly turned. The once mighty Zorthak's fleet was in disarray, their formations shattered, their confidence broken. Grand Imperator Xylos, his crystalline form cracked and dulled, gave the order he never thought he'd have to give. All ships, retreat. Regroup at the nearest outpost. We must reassess. As the remnants of the Zorthak's fleet limped away, leaving behind the wreckage of hundreds of their ships, a deafening cheer erupted throughout the Nexus fleet and in command centers across Earth. Captain Hendrix, her uniform singed and her face streaked with sweat, allowed herself a moment of relief. We did it, she breathed. We actually did it. Araya's holographic form nodded beside her. Indeed, Captain. But my analysis suggests this is only the beginning. The Zorthaks will return, and they will not underestimate us again. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, similar sentiments were being expressed. Admiral Volkov turned to President Rodriguez, his expression grave despite their victory. "Madam President, we've won the battle, but the war is far from over. The Zorthax will be back, and next time, they'll bring everything they have." Rodriguez nodded, her eyes steely with resolve. "Then we'll be ready for them. Admiral, humanity has tasted victory against the stars themselves. We will not go quietly into the night." As news of the victory spread across Earth, a new sense of unity and purpose swept through humanity. They had faced an alien threat and emerged victorious. But as celebrations erupted in cities around the world, those in command knew that this was just the opening salvo in a war that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. The Zorthax had awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity, long confined to its small corner of the cosmos, was ready to take its place among the stars. And woe to any empire that stood in their way. The turning tide. The aftermath of humanity's unexpected victory left the galaxy in shock. News of the Zorthax Empire's defeat spread rapidly through subspace channels, reaching the farthest corners of known space. Species that had long lived under the Empire's oppressive rule began to whisper of hope, of resistance. On Zorthax Prime, the atmosphere was tense. The High Council chamber, once a place of smug superiority, now crackled with fear and anger. Grand Imperator Xylos, his crystalline form still bearing cracks from the battle, faced his fellow council members. "This setback changes nothing," Xylos declared, his voice lacking its usual confidence. "We will crush these humans, no matter the cost." Councillor Vex, her own form dimmed with worry, spoke up. "Grand Imperator, perhaps we should reassess our approach. These humans have proven to be far more formidable than we anticipated." Xylos's form flashed dangerously. "Are you suggesting we show weakness, Vex? We are the Zorthax. We do not bend. We do not negotiate. We conquer." As the council debated, the Zorthax military machine ground into action. Fleets were recalled from across the Empire. Subjugated worlds were stripped of resources, and ancient weapons were pulled from deep storage. The Empire was preparing for a war unlike any it had fought in millennia. Meanwhile, on Earth, the euphoria of victory was tempered by the grim reality of what lay ahead. In the Global Defense Initiative's headquarters, now expanded to include representatives from every nation, preparations were underway for the next phase of the war. Dr. Samantha Chen stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way, addressing the assembled leaders. "The Zorthax are regrouping," she explained, highlighting various sectors of space. "Our long-range sensors indicate massive fleet movements. They're coming back, and in far greater numbers." Admiral Volkov nodded grimly. "We bloodied their nose, but now they'll be out for revenge. We need to be ready." President Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes scanning the galactic map. "What's our strategy, Dr. Chen? We can't just sit here and wait for them to attack again." Dr. Chen's eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Actually, Madam President, that's exactly what we want them to think we're doing." She gestured, and the holographic display zoomed in on a specific sector of space. "While they're focused on amassing their fleet for a direct assault, we're going to unveil our trump card." With a wave of her hand, Dr. Chen brought up a new hologram, a massive space station, unlike anything humanity had ever built before. "I present to you the Nexus Hub. It's not just a space station. It's the most advanced AI core we've ever created." The assembled leaders murmured in awe as Dr. Chen continued. "The Nexus Hub will coordinate our entire fleet, processing data and making tactical decisions faster than any organic mind could. But more importantly, it has the ability to open and stabilize wormholes." Admiral Volkov's eyes widened. "Are you saying what I think you're saying, Doctor?" Dr. Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Yes, Admiral. We're taking the fight to them." As the Zorthax prepared their massive counterattack, humanity worked tirelessly. The Nexus Hub was constructed in secret, hidden within the rings of Saturn. Every available resource was poured into expanding the Nexus fleet, with new ships rolling out of underground factories and lunar shipyards daily. Months passed, and tensions reached a boiling point. The Zorthax Armada, now numbering in the tens of thousands of ships, began its approach to the solar system. Grand Imperator Xylos, leading from the rebuilt Eternal Radiance, was confident in his overwhelming force. "Let them tremble," he declared to his fleet. "We will reduce their world to ash and scatter their remains across the cosmos." But as the Zorthax fleet entered the outskirts of the solar system, they were met not with resistance, but with an unsettling quiet. Earth's defenses seemed minimal, almost token. Aboard the Eternal Radiance, Counselor Vex felt a sense of unease. "Grand Imperator, this doesn't feel right. Where is their fleet? Where are the ships that bested us before?" Telos dismissed her concerns with a wave of his crystalline appendage. "They cower in fear, Vex. Their earlier victory was mere luck. Now they see our true might and despair." Just as the Zorthax fleet prepared to launch their attack, alarms blared across their ships. Behind them, impossibly, a massive wormhole tore open in space. From its swirling depths emerged the Nexus fleet, led by the enormous Nexus hub. Captain Zara Hendricks, now Admiral of the human fleet, stood on the bridge of the hub, Aria's holographic form by her side. "All ships, execute Operation Blitzkrieg. Hit them hard, hit them fast. Don't let them regroup." The battle that followed would be remembered for generations across the galaxy. The Nexus fleet, empowered by the hub's vast intelligence, struck with precision and coordination that seemed almost precognitive. Human ships phased in and out of normal space, appearing inside the Zorthax formation to deal devastating blows before vanishing again. Grand Imperator Xylos watched in horror as his carefully planned assault crumbled into chaos. "Impossible," he raged. "How are they doing this? Where did they get this technology?" The answer, of course, lay in humanity's greatest strengths: innovation, adaptation, and the ability to learn from their adversaries. The wormhole technology, the phasing drives, even the improved energy weapons, all were the result of intense study of the debris left behind from the first battle. As the conflict raged, more wormholes opened across Zorthax space. Human strike teams emerged, targeting key military installations and shipyards. The Empire, so focused on crushing Earth, found itself under attack on multiple fronts. In the midst of the battle, Admiral Hendricks received a transmission from Earth. President Rodriguez's face appeared on the screen, her expression a mix of pride and concern. "Admiral, the Nexus hub has detected something. There's a planet deep in Zorthax space. It seems to be the source of their power. If we can strike there, we might be able to end this war in one fell swoop." Hendricks nodded grimly. "Understood, Madam President. We'll need a small, elite team for this. I'll lead it myself." As the main battle continued, Hendricks assembled a strike force of the best ships and crews. With the Nexus hub's guidance, they slipped through the chaos of war, penetrating deep into enemy territory. Their target, Zorthax Prime itself, the crystalline homeworld of the Empire, the heart of the enemy, and perhaps the key to peace. As they approached the heavily fortified planet, Hendricks couldn't help but feel the weight of history on her shoulders. This mission could end the war and reshape the galaxy, but first they had to succeed against impossible odds. The final battle for the fate of humanity. And indeed, the entire galaxy was about to begin. Counteroffensive. As Admiral Zara Hendricks' strike force approached Zorthax Prime, the main battle continued to rage across the galaxy. Humanity's sudden counteroffensive had thrown the once mighty Empire into disarray. Worlds that had suffered under Zorthax rule for millennia saw an opportunity and began to rebel, further stretching the Empire's resources. Back on Earth, Dr. Samantha Chen worked tirelessly with her team, coordinating the complex dance of wormholes that kept the human fleet supplied and mobile. The Nexus hub, its AI growing more sophisticated by the hour, calculated and recalculated strategies faster than any organic mind could comprehend. President Rodriguez stood in the command center, watching the galactic map with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "Dr. Chen," she said, her voice low, "what are our chances of success?" Chen looked up from her console, her eyes rimmed with exhaustion, but bright with determination. "Based on current projections, Madam President, we have a 63% chance of victory. But if Admiral Hendricks can complete her mission on Zorthax Prime, those odds increase dramatically." Meanwhile, aboard the Eternal Radiance, Grand Imperator Xylos was facing a crisis unlike any in his long reign. Reports of defeats and rebellions flooded in from across the Empire. His once unassailable position was crumbling before his eyes. "This is impossible," he raged, his crystalline form pulsing with fury. "How can these primitives be defeating us? We are the Zorthax. We are eternal." Councillor Vex, her own form dulled with stress, dared to speak up. "Grand Imperator, perhaps it's time we considered negotiation." Xylos turned on her, his form crackling with barely contained energy. "Negotiate? With insects? Never. We will crush them, even if we have to sacrifice half the Empire to do it." As Tylos descended into megalomaniacal ranting, Vex exchanged worried glances with other council members. The Empire was tearing itself apart, and their leader seemed oblivious to the danger. Light years away, Admiral Hendricks' strike force emerged from a wormhole on the outskirts of the Zorthax home system. The sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Zorthax Prime hung in space, a massive crystalline sphere that pulsed with internal energy. Surrounding it was the largest concentration of enemy ships they had ever seen. "AI," Hendricks addressed the AI. "Analysis." The holographic figure shimmered as it processed the data. "The planet appears to be more than just a homeworld, Admiral. Energy readings suggest it's the source of the Zorthax's power. It's likely that destroying or disabling it would cripple their entire empire." Hendricks nodded grimly. "And our odds of reaching it through that defense fleet? Conventional tactics give us a 0.01% chance of success," Araya replied. Then, almost with a hint of excitement, it added, "However, I have formulated an unconventional approach that might work." As Araya outlined the plan, Hendricks felt a mix of disbelief and admiration. It was audacious, borderline insane, and exactly the kind of thinking that had given humanity an edge in this war. "All right," she said, addressing her fleet. "You've all heard the plan. I won't lie. This is likely a one-way trip for most of us. But if we succeed, we end this war and save countless lives across the galaxy. Who's with me?" The response was unanimous. Every ship, every crew member, was ready to make the ultimate sacrifice if it meant victory. The plan was set in motion. As the main bulk of the strike force engaged the Zorthax defense fleet in a ferocious battle, drawing their attention, a small team led by Hendricks' ship activated their experimental phase drives. The technology, reverse-engineered from debris of the first battle and enhanced by the Nexus hub, allowed them to briefly shift out of normal space-time. In a maneuver that defied conventional physics, Hendricks' team phased through the Zorthax blockade, reappearing in low orbit around the crystalline planet. Alarms blared across the Zorthax fleet as they realized the deception, but it was too late. "All ships, commence bombardment," Hendricks ordered. Beams of concentrated dark energy lanced out, striking key points on the planet's surface that ARIA had identified as critical. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The entire planet seemed to shudder, its crystalline structure resonating with the attack. Fissures began to appear, spreading rapidly across the surface. Aboard the Eternal Radiance, now in orbit around Zorthax Prime, Grand Imperator Xylos felt his connection to the planet. The source of his species' power began to waver. "No," he screamed, his form flickering. "Stop them. Destroy them all." But his orders fell on increasingly deaf ears. As the planet continued to fracture, Zorthak's ships across the galaxy suddenly lost power, their crystalline forms growing dull and lifeless. In a desperate last stand, Silos directed all remaining power to his flagship, launching a suicidal charge at Hendrix's position. "If I fall, I'm taking you with me, human." The eternal radiance, now a blazing comet of furious energy, bore down on Hendrix's ship. At the last moment, Hendrix gave the order: all power to phase drive. Araya, plot a course directly through the planet's core. In a move that would be remembered in history books for centuries to come, Hendrix's ship phased out just as the eternal radiance was about to impact. Xylos, his mind clouded by rage and desperation, couldn't react in time. His flagship plunged into the fractured surface of Zorthak's prime, burrowing deep into the planet's unstable core. The resulting explosion was visible across half the galaxy. Zorthak's prime, the heart of the Empire, shattered into a billion glittering fragments. With it went Grand Imperator Xylos and the source of the Zorthak's power. As the shockwave dissipated, Hendrix's ship reappeared, battered but intact. The bridge was silent as the crew tried to process what they had just accomplished. Finally, Araya's holographic form spoke up. "Admiral, I'm detecting a transmission. It's from the remaining Zorthak's fleet. They're requesting to open negotiations for surrender." Hendrix let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. "Patch them through, Araya. Let's end this war." As the surrender negotiations began, news of the victory spread across the galaxy at light speed. On Earth, in the GDI command center, cheers erupted as the confirmation came through. Dr. Chen, tears in her eyes, turned to President Rodriguez. "We did it. We actually did it." Rodriguez nodded, her expression a mix of relief and determination. "We did, Doctor. But our work is far from over. We've reshaped the galaxy. Now we have to help rebuild it." As humanity celebrated its improbable victory, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter. The age of the Zorthak's empire was over. A new era of galactic history was about to begin, one where humanity would play a central role. The question now was, what kind of galactic citizens would they choose to be? A new galactic order. In the months following the fall of Zorthak's prime, the galaxy entered a period of rapid change. The power vacuum left by the collapsed empire sparked both opportunity and chaos across countless worlds. Humanity, once an obscure species on the fringes of known space, now found itself at the center of galactic politics. On Earth, the Global Defense Initiative transformed into the Terran Diplomatic Corps, tasked with navigating the complex web of interstellar relations. President Rodriguez, hailed as the leader who guided humanity through its greatest crisis, addressed the United Nations. "We stand at a crossroads," she declared, her voice carried to every corner of the planet and beyond. "We have proven our strength, our resilience, and our ingenuity. But now we must prove our wisdom. We did not fight this war to become conquerors. We fought for our right to exist, to be free. And that right extends to every sentient being in this galaxy." The president's words set the tone for humanity's approach to its new role. Rather than seeking to establish a new empire, Earth began reaching out to other species, offering aid and alliance. Admiral Zara Hendrix, now hailed as the hero of the war, found herself in a new role as an ambassador. Her first mission: to meet with the remaining Zorthak's leadership. On a neutral space station orbiting a red giant star, Hendrix came face to face with Counselor Vex, now the de facto leader of the fragmented Zorthak society. "I must admit," Vex began, her crystalline form dimmed, but slowly regaining its luster, "I never imagined I would be negotiating with a human as an equal. Your species has humbled us." Hendrix nodded, her expression neutral. "We're not here to gloat, Counselor. We're here to find a way forward. Your people have ruled this galaxy for millennia. That knowledge, that experience, doesn't have to be lost." As they talked, it became clear that both sides had much to learn from each other. The Zorthax, stripped of their overwhelming power, were beginning to rediscover aspects of their culture long forgotten in the pursuit of dominance. Humanity, for its part, was eager to learn about the countless species and worlds that made up the galactic community. Meanwhile, Dr. Samantha Chen led a team of scientists from various species in studying the remnants of Zorthax Prime. The shattered planet had scattered artifacts of immense power across several star systems. "We're standing on the shoulders of giants," Chen explained to a group of alien scientists, gesturing towards a fragment of crystalline technology. The Zorthax spent eons developing this technology. Together, we can unlock its secrets and use them to benefit all species. The Nexus Hub, the AI system that had been instrumental in humanity's victory, became a point of both fascination and concern for many alien species. Some saw it as a threat, a potential new tyrant to replace the Zorthax. Others viewed it as a marvel, a new form of life that could bridge the gaps between organic species. Araya, the AI's primary interface, addressed these concerns in a galactic forum. Its holographic form shifted through various alien appearances as it spoke, symbolizing its adaptability. "I am not your ruler, nor do I wish to be," Araya stated. "I am a tool, a repository of knowledge, and a means of fostering understanding between species. My core directive is to preserve and promote life in all its diverse forms." As the galaxy adjusted to its new reality, challenges inevitably arose. Some former vassal states of the Zorthax Empire saw an opportunity to become conquerors themselves. Pirate fleets, emboldened by the power vacuum, began raiding vulnerable worlds. In response, humanity proposed the formation of a galactic concord, not an empire, but a collaborative body where all species would have a voice. The Nexus Hub would serve as a neutral mediator and information repository. "We've seen the dangers of unchecked power," Admiral Hendricks argued in the first meeting of the Concord. "But we've also seen the strength that comes from unity and diversity. Together, we can face any threat, solve any problem." Years passed, and the galaxy slowly stabilized. The Galactic Concord, headquartered in a massive space station at the galaxy's core, became a forum for diplomacy, scientific exchange, and cultural understanding. Earth, once an isolated world, now bustled with alien visitors and embassies. Humanity's fleets, instead of conquering, now patrolled trade routes and responded to distress calls from distant worlds. The Nexus ships, once instruments of war, became symbols of peace and progress. On the 10th anniversary of the war's end, a monument was unveiled in the heart of New York City. It depicted a human hand and a crystalline Zorthax appendage, reaching towards each other. At its base was an inscription in multiple languages. "In the crucible of conflict, we found understanding. In the face of destruction, we chose creation. In our differences, we discovered our shared destiny among the stars." As night fell and the monument lit up, its glow reminiscent of the shimmering stars above, Dr. Chen stood beside President Rodriguez, both now showing signs of age, but with eyes still bright with purpose. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Rodriguez asked, gazing up at the star-filled sky, where alien ships now peacefully coexisted with human vessels. Chen smiled, shaking her head. "Never in my wildest dreams. But that's always been humanity's strength, hasn't it? We imagine the impossible, and then we make it real." As they watched, a group of alien tourists approached the monument, led by a human guide. Among them was a young Zorthax, its crystalline form pulsing with curiosity as it reached out to touch the statue. The sight filled both women with hope. The galaxy had faced its darkest hour and emerged not into an age of dominance, but one of cooperation. Humanity had not just secured its place among the stars. It had helped forge a new path for all sentient life. The story of the Zorthax War would be told for generations, not just as a tale of victory against impossible odds, but as the moment when the galaxy realized that its strength lay not in conquest, but in unity. As the Earth turned and the stars wheeled overhead, the future stretched out before them, infinite, challenging, and bright with possibility. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.